Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And Taurus, this is your weekly intuitive tarot reading for February 24th to March the 1st. This week we have the Break the Chain Oracle card. We have the Three of Cups, the Seven of Wands, Five of Wands, Three of Wands, Strength and Judgment. So lots of Wands energy here. This is the realm of personal power. We see a situation potentially of personal power being used in the wrong way in a situation in the past, and you're now being asked to rise above that, to awaken to the fact that maybe this wasn't healthy for you, to break that chain and to now start moving forward in a positive direction. So before we go to the tarot, Taurus, I'm just going to read out that oracle card for you. Break the chain. Ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. You're being called to heal your family line or free yourself from living the life of your ancestors. This could mean letting go of an old pattern of your maternal or paternal line. Healing trauma from the past that is not even yours, or observing old ways of being that no longer serve you. We carry trauma, emotional trauma, in our luminous field for up to 7 generations back. This is why family patterns can be the hardest to break. Often they are not even ours to begin with. But we do not know another way of being, so we continue playing out the drama. Recent past here, the Three of Cups actually, came out with the Five of Wands, guys. So for me, I see a conflict situation involving others. Now, with the Three of Cups, it could be with family members, quarrels in the family, a family rift. Could be in a friendship as well, even the workplace, not going to rule that out. And, in a relationship sense, we have 3 people here. It could be that there's been an ex hanging around, either you or your partner, that has been causing conflict, or it's been, causing quarrels, jealousy, or they're just meddling, that kind of thing. Or maybe even a third party. Maybe, you or your partner actually does have some holding a flame for somebody else, whether they're acting on it or not. It's that kind of energy. And also with this Break the Chain Oracle card, you might be aware of this energy, or this energy might not even be yours. It might be something that you're, from your family line, that your parents or another generation, experienced over a prolonged period, and it's been kind of handed down to you. Like if there has been a major family rift, that energy affects the way, your parents would have parented you, or, reacted to different situations, and you learn from that example and absorb that energy, which is why, it becomes a family line and actually, impacts generations to come. So it's a general reading, guys. It will be different for all of you. But in that Five of Wands, we see these people quarreling, and, wands are really a metaphor for our sense of energy, our personal power, our spirituality, and that kind of thing. And we see these people, using that in the wrong way, basically using it for conflict, to fight, using the energy in the wrong direction. So it's very unproductive. And, with the Five of Wands, guys, it is a card of conflict, but it can be quite petty. So maybe something happened and then it's just kind of gotten out of control and started a feud. And probably if you ask any of the parties involved, how this actually, arose, maybe they can't even remember that, what the cause anyway. It's that kind of thing. Can start out of gossip in the workplace. It could have started out of corporate politics. So that's what I'm seeing here. And I feel that in the past it's had a really big impact on you, and maybe whether, you were directly involved or just kind of, feeling the effects of it. I feel like it's greatly challenged you, with the Seven of Wands here is, a card of internal conflict here, of, experiencing the inner demons, feeling really challenged, and having to meet that challenge with, resilience and persistence. That's the kind of energy we see here. And, we can't see who's holding these wands up. And for me, that kind of indicates the inner demons, the stories within ourselves that may have arisen out of this situation. And going through life like that, where everything's, a fight, or you're in flight or fight all the time, obviously is very draining on your energy resources. I mean, this person here in this card you know, is meeting every challenge, every activity with that warrior spirit, you know, feeling like he has to fight things off all the time. So it's not a very relaxing energy. I just want to point out too that number 5 here of the Five of Wands is the number of conflict, but 5 is also the number of change. And I always say when I see the 5 cards that the antidote to the conflict, or what is needed to overcome it, is to make a change, to transmute that energy, to kind of nullify it, if you will. So the focus energies we have this week is judgment and strength. So these are huge energies, guys. And this is really things coming to a head. You know, judgment is a wake-up call or an awakening to what you might have been going through and saying, you know what, I'm not going to put up with this anymore. Now it's time for me to rise above it, to rise above the pettiness, to rise above the quarreling or this feud or whatever it is, and to be the bigger person. To realize that it's kept maybe you small, maybe family members and others small as well, kept you confined. And when your energy's all locked up like this and you're in fight or flight, obviously there's levels to that, then, you know, it holds space where you can't really get on and, you know, achieve all the things that you really could in your life. It takes time and energy to engage in this kind of behavior. So, you know, judgment is that divine nudge. Well, it's a bit more than that. It's usually, you know, maybe things coming to a head in a way, or really getting that powerful intuition to deal with something. You know, judgment is the card of second chances as well. You know, is there anyone that you need to make up with? Can you salvage this? Can you give someone a second chance? It's the card of forgiveness also. You know, can you forgive that person? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to confront them face to face. That can just be your own internal ritual or prayer for forgiving, and then, you know, making a vow to move on and maybe eventually forget the situation. And it's likely that it's going to make you feel very vulnerable, you know, being the bigger party to actually take this step. But, you know, if you keep on as you are, you know, do what you always did, get what you always got, you know what you're in for. So why not release this? You know, it's those burdens that we harbor that can sometimes, you know, create dis-ease in the body and end up, you know, making us sick in that as well. We don't want that to get trapped in the body, so it's really important that we deal with things face on, not in a conflict situation, but actually to talk it out or to resolve it, or just make your own personal resolution to move on. And I see that you'll have the strength and courage to do that this week. The Strength card is also a card about overcoming our own personal challenges or inner demons in order to deal with the situation. I mean, this line here, you know, it stands for our ego or our shadow side, and the angel is our higher self. So it's about coaxing back into control our inner demons, and maybe the process for doing that is actually to resolve the situation or to go through that period of forgiveness. And it's when we really integrate those two sides of ourselves that we do unlock that infinite potential, as indicated by the infinity sign here. You know, 8 is the number of mastery and power. Going from a 7 to an 8 in terms of these two cards that talk about inner demons. So here we see a sense of overcoming that challenge, of mastering it, of coming back into your personal power again after a period of time where you may have been out of it. I mean, it could have been a very long time actually, depending on when this happened, or if it was passed on to you from your parents. It could even have been from childhood. But, you know, that process is the alchemy for you to get into a really good place to start moving on in your life. You know, the Three of Wands shows somebody who's turned their back on a difficult times, turned their back on those challenges, and is not willing to turn around and engage with them anymore. This is a young emperor. He's ready to explore new territory. He's all about forward thinking and focus now, and not re-engaging with the darker energies of the past. You know, this is about manifesting a new direction for yourself. We have 2 number 3s in this reading. It's about creation. What do you want to create now from this new space, now that you've put this behind you? And, you know, there is a real indicator of success in this card, because these are ships on this horizon, and no, they haven't come in just yet. But the promise is the more that you know, release the past and focus on the future, and, you know, use your wand of power, your personal power, in the right way, and take inspired action, then eventually those ships will come in and you will achieve what you want to achieve and you'll have all the success. But it's about understanding that, that doesn't happen overnight, and like anything else in life, it is a process that we go through. There might be some healing that needs to take place. I mean, the Oracle card talked about, healing and rewriting the future. This is what these two cards are: healing before you rewrite your future. Now, Temperance talks about reestablishing your sense of balance, emotional balance. And this angel is moving the waters, or the waters of life, or the emotions from cup to cup. As she does that, it's almost like an alchemical process of rebalancing and recalibrating that energy. Temperance for me talks about finding health and stability again with your mental, emotional and physical well-being. I see those as each side of the equilateral triangle that the angel wears on the gown. And the reason why she wears that symbol is that it's the most stable structure. Doesn't matter what side you push on it, it's not going to collapse. And the more you go through this process of releasing the past and forgiving and forgetting and letting go, that sunrise there wants to rise. That new dawn, that new day, a whole new chapter for you is going to really eclipse that darkness. And as that sun rises, that's when the path forward that this young emperor needs to take will be revealed. But it's all a process. And I do see with that Temperance energy, she has one foot in the emotional waters, one on the earth, that you will be grounded and be able to stay in your earthly realm and go about your daily tasks and childcare and work as you're going through this process. It's not going to derail you or anything like this. We're not talking about tower moments here. We're talking about a really gentle healing process and forgiveness after maybe a really long time that you might have held whatever this energy is, or this burden, or this conflict. So yeah, and there is, divine guidance here. It is time for this. It's time for you to break the chain. It's time for you to heal. And then it's time for you to get on and rewrite that new chapter exactly as you want it. Okay, Taurus, I'm going to leave it there for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Do keep in mind it is a general reading, so it won't be for everyone. Feel free to leave me a comment, because I always love to know if this actually resonates and how it's shaping up in your daily life. And I'll see you back here next week for another reading.